Welcome everyone. Today we celebrate Maria Montessori's birthday, a day that reminds us of her unwavering belief in education for all. Dr. Montessori's first school, established in a working class neighborhood, provided underprivileged children with equal access to education, emphasizing her commitment to extending learning opportunities beyond just those who could afford it. In the spirit of celebrating her belief, I am thrilled to introduce Sandy Phillip, the co founder and directress of the Freethinking School and Freethinking Foundation, to our Little Leaps community. Sandy is a passionate advocate for children, viewing them as our most precious resources. With nearly 15 years of experience in education, she has dedicated herself to making experiential Montessori learning accessible to all. Sandy's vision of Montessori to the masses is truly inspiring. Beyond running a network of the free-thinking schools across Bangalore, Kochi, and Hyderabad, she has pioneered the world's first Montessori environment on wheels. This groundbreaking initiative brings the Montessori method to children in Bangalore's slums, where the Free Thinking Foundation has already trained teachers from marginalized communities to educate around 300 children in Anganwadis. Sandy aims to double this impact by the end of the year. Her creativity and love for all things literary shine through in the engaging and inspiring learning spaces she creates. Sandy's work is a testament to the power of education to transform lives, and we are honored to have her share her insights with us today. So, great work, Sandy, and I really am thankful and for you to accept my invitation to come and speak on our platform. I would like you to share your journey in this education over the past 15 years and what inspired you to co-found the Free Thinking School and Free Thinking Foundation. So over to you, Sandy.
We're very disgruntled by the fact that nothing has changed in the education system. It does not, aspire children to actually learn in any way, any practical way. So we were envisioning something that ties in sync with human beings and the natural way in which they learn. So we envisioned a program which catered to individual differences, that were nurtured the inner potential of children, that was practical and experiential in nature. And Sunoj, my husband, who in his field of work came across many individuals who just felt the same way, and they have the same point of view that if we create a space where people can share their learnings and be free to learn from each other in a community setting, then things could change and people could follow their passions and inspire children to just learn in the way that they should, that we were made to learn. So this is how this concept was shared with an educationist who told us that your vision is actually tying in so beautifully with the Montessori method. And it did. So when we did our research, we understood that it completely tied in with what we believed would be the best way for human beings to learn. And that is how the Free Thinking School was born. Today, like you mentioned, we are present across 3 cities, and we have 6 locations and are rapidly trying to expand our model across the nation. So coming to the question of how the foundation was born, it was during the pandemic, and my husband has a habit of reading the headlines to me in the morning. And that particular morning, he read that there was 888 million children out of school. And this was, a really staggering number to deal with. So we were thinking, at this point, we already had an excellent Montessori at home program going. And the parents were giving us excellent feedback about it. And we had made so many Montessori videos of how to work with the materials at home, and the parents were enjoying it. So we thought, why not give it out for free? especially since so many people were without jobs, so many people couldn't afford an education in the first place, and many parents did not know what to do at home with their children, locked down for so long. So we gave it out for free, and we said, you pay anything. And actually, on this very day, Madhuri, the 30th of August 2020, is when we initiated the freedom from fee offer. And many children across the nation, right from Kashmir to Tamil Nadu, we had children taking this program, and even people from abroad. There was a family who was stuck on the border of the United States, uh, a family on board a ship who was stuck with his family, and they were, enjoying the program on board the ship. So it was a really successful program. So we're really glad about that, because it led us to believe that this program can reach many more. And coming out of the pandemic, we said there are so many parents who are just so afraid to send their children to school now. Let's take this program to the doorstep of children. And again, my husband had Googled and found out that the BBMP were already flying a fleet of 10 buses called the Schools on Wheels. And he just happened to call, and they said, please come. And they gave us, 3 buses, which we took on, and we refurbished it. We put in our materials and our Montessori adult, and Montessori on Wheels was the initiative that we started. It was a really beneficial program, because it would allow for maximum utilization of the space, of the materials. We could go to field trips and parks where children could enjoy outdoors as well as the indoor bus learning space. So it really was very rewarding, because many children who were out of school came into the bus, and they were empowered to go back and go into school, and they had the skill sets to be able to speak with confidence, to write, to read, and to do arithmetic. So once we saw that transformation happening in the bus, we knew that let's further extend our reach to where the children are at in the Anganwadis.
VP ने भेजा join करो meeting.
So our vision was really to take Montessori to the masses, and the Freethinking Foundation was born with that vision in mind, to take Montessori to the masses. And in order to do that, we had to come up with a training program for women in the community. So there were many mothers whose children were in the Anganwadi who were interested in coming on board this program. And we trained about 21 adults to be able to, meet out the curriculum across Anganwadi. Nice to hear children's voices on. So now at this moment, we are, catering to the needs of 300 children in the Anganwadis. And it's been a beautiful journey with Montessori all along, because we've seen so many children and getting so many good feedback of children who are transforming and are being able to work with confidence and learn these concepts with ease as a result. Yeah, Madhuri,
Yes.
that was our Montessori journey.
Yes, and then actually I was just, lost in, because I wanted to share this lovely slide that I prepared for people to see what you have done so far. It's a fantastic effort, and we can see children doing so many stuff there in Anganwadis. I'll just share a screen 1 second. So if we see here, this is Anganwadi's work, right? Right.
Yes, that
And you can see the focus that these children have, and you can see how committed they are. The educator is so much, passionate and devoted to, help children learn. So it's a great work that Sandy has been doing, and it's fantastic to see. I think I also have a video where one of the child is presenting how to fold the napkin. Let me figure out where is that. Yeah. One second. It's so inspiring to see them working in the environment, and fortunate for them to having this kind of, space where they can explore the space, and the love for learning actually is translated into, going and experiencing stuff out there, right, Sandy? So it's really an amazing work that you are doing. Do you have any success stories where you saw these young children coming into the space, and they had no understanding, especially of the language, and yet you could see the transformation from the time they were in the environment to the time they left the environment?
absolutely. So almost all of them come in with next to nil understanding of English. They have Kannada as their mother tongue, Tamil, even Hindi, some of them, but English is completely foreign language to them. And first day, few days, you will see a blank face. And I always tell my teachers, a blank face means they're interested. Their idea, their ears are picking up new sounds, and they're interested in the new language. And by the end of 2 months, because of the repeated activities and the repetition of the same words, children are speaking to us in English, maybe not complete sentences, but they're following instructions. That means they comprehend, and then they're responding in words. And by the end of the year, they're responding in sentences. They know all the phonic sounds, and they're able to, some of them, the bigger ones, can use the movable alphabet. So much of learning, so much happens because they're so eager, to learn. So we're just enjoying the way that the children are responding to the programs. And you can see from the effort that girl is making, there's so much of disturbances around her, but she's so focused. And all of them in their time, and the interested, whatever they're interested in, they are doing the activities with so much eagerness that is inspiration to actually bring them more activities and just continue working with them for the longer duration. So yeah, Madhuri, it's been a wonderful experience there in the Anganwadis, and every story is a success story. I don't think we can say that any child is not interested in the work. They'd be interested in one work or the other. So they benefit because there are so many different materials they would be interested in. So yeah, the whole story is a success story, and that's why we're so passionate about taking it to the masses. Yeah.
Yeah, and children are hungry for learning, isn't it? So The more you give, the more they are hungry for it, and they want more. So how you are contributing, and what I liked the most was the material that is offered in a small space for these children. It makes it so easy for, even if there is a community which keeps on moving. So it becomes very easy for us to access these material, and for children, I think the respect also develops eventually when they are using the material in such a way. So I also wanted to ask, Sandy, these children are coming from a background which is very different from, a normal middle class family or an average, family who can afford education. When Maria Montessori has written in her book, or when I was doing these observation of my 0 to 3, I was mostly visiting slum areas and observing these children in that community. And what I observed is that children who get more privileges, the learning curve actually for a slum child is higher as opposed to the children who are living in a privileged setup. Do you see that? Do you see that hunger for learning more in these children, and how do you contribute in enhancing that?
Yeah, so absolutely right. You can actually, the intensity with which they work is so palpable, simply because we have only 1.5 hours of work time permitted by the government to work in Anganwadi schools. So in that time, the children also know that they have limited time. So you can see them furious activities working back to back with the material. They don't waste any time. You can see how busy they are.
Yeah.
Moving and all the time picking up new activities, but once they sit on their mat, they are so engrossed with their work. So you can tell by the hungry attitude they have towards new material. So we introduce new material as and when the need arises. And then you can see, like, and one child gets a presentation, all the children want it one after the other. You can actually feel that hunger in the children all the time. So we're really thrilled about that. And yeah, this is something that we've noticed, whether in the bus or in the Anganwadi. Children in from marginalized communities are so much more hungry for intellectual development than children who come from well-to-do homes. I think it kind of, the children are instinctively aware that I'll get this anyway. My parents already have the ways and means to make sure I get everything. I can get first, right? But in the Anganwadis, the children are really aware that this is something that I'm not going to get. It's something new and it's something I need, and I'm hungry for it. So they instinctively know this, and yeah. So all the more we want to offer to those who are in need and more hungry for knowledge. Yeah.
So the educators, I am coming to the the adults. Uh, these educators, as you were mentioning before, that they are mostly mothers of many children who are coming in the Anganwadis and other such spaces. Of course, their first language would not be English as well, and their understanding of education, early education, will also be very limited. So, what strategies or what challenges did you have to go through to train these educators, to train these adults to become an educator who can support this Montessori learning journey for the children?
A lovely question. It has been a journey with our educators, but just like their children, they are also in need of doing something that would contribute to their home, to their own personal development. So you see the same hunger in these adults too. Most of them are, coming into the workspace for the very first time in their lives, and they're putting their best foot forward. You have to see the materials that they are making for the children, the effort that's going in on a daily basis. So they are really working hard. And in the beginning, just a handful of them knew English, and many of them, it was their second language. Most of them are, their mother tongue is Kannada, and they've done all their studies in Kannada only. But that was not a barrier because of their drive. They wanted to learn English as a language. And just like we taught the children, we have been teaching English through songs, through stories, through poems, and all same ways that we teach our children. We have worked with them, empowered them with those same songs to train the children. And because of their efforts, they are now able to speak even with the children in English. Uh, some of them more proficiently than others, of course. But yeah, it's a work in progress, and it's been very, very rewarding. They are enjoying the whole process as much as the children are. And you can see most welcome to come and see how and observe how the teachers are doing, the efforts they're making. It has been a good initiative.
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure. So, and then watching these videos actually reinforces that, trust and belief in what you're doing as well. So, have you designed a training program for these educators? Did you have to customize it based on their potential, their proficiency, and also understanding their limitations, and also keeping in mind the setup of an Anganwadi? Did you have to design training program accordingly?
Actually, these teachers have all passed 10th grade, so they already come with some, background knowledge. They may not be very proficient in English, but their understanding of learning and teaching is quite good. So we didn't have to start from zero. They have, potential in them. But yes, we did not have to make any such adjustments other than meeting out the program in Kannada. So we've had trainers, Montessori trained adults, to come in and train them in the local languages. So that was the only Madhuri, you're on silent. You're on mute, yeah. So other than that, we have not changed anything. The same training that we have received, we have given to them. All the exercise of practical life, sensorial, language, all the areas of learning, just as we got it, we have given to them just as much as they need to practice so that they can offer the children in age-appropriate activities have been given to them. So yes, we did not really need to change anything other than the language delivery. Yeah.
But is it exactly the same, or you had to, make a concise version of the entire, diploma training course? Is it a very, shorter version of that?
We haven't given the entire program simply because the children haven't got there. So as per the developing needs of the children, we have been training. It's a work in progress. It's not like the training is over. We're working continuously with the teachers, and their understanding and their activities are growing with the growing needs of the communities. So as and when necessary.
Yeah, I really like this idea, and also keeping it vernacular is the key, I feel, because and especially coming from that background for the educators also is easier for them to understand the child. So that is a fantastic. Instead of having a trained adult coming, and because I have seen that there is a gap when environment like these, when a trained adult comes into an environment like these, it is a challenge for them, because for them to understand the child and then understand how much is the capacity, and how to limit and become flexible with the materials, that is more challenging. but keeping it vernacular, keeping it localized is what is a fantastic, way of approaching to, such small initiatives and programs. So yeah, job well done. I must say that it was a very, very thought through program that you designed. So we talked about the educators. Now I would like to ask, because you are running already more than 7 schools and various Anganwadis in and around the city. So I would like, from the school founders' perspective, I would like to ask you this. Um, what are the considerations when you are a school foundation, a founder? What are the considerations that one must keep in mind when we are going to implement a scalable and an inclusive education model?
Yeah, so yeah, there are certain non-negotiables that needs to be kept in mind. We definitely do not want to do away with any particular area of development, right? So usually in most schools, they do away with either the exercise of practical life, or do away with maybe culture. I don't know, but it's like giving one vitamin less, or not the whole package. So development is not consistent and not complete. So we believe that it has to be the all or nothing. But yes, another non-negotiable is to implement the philosophy to the T. I know it is going to be tougher, but it is achievable. And we have proved this myth wrong, that it cannot be scalable, that Montessori is not scalable to the Anganwadi. We have proved it to be a myth. We know and can see it functioning so beautifully. In fact, we have the Anganwadi teachers coming and telling us, please give us the syllabus. You can also train us. Please come to our Anganwadi. So we know this is working. And so we can implement the philosophy to the T, give children their freedoms, give children the choice, just allow them to work at their own pace. These things are possible. So give them the whole Montessori philosophy. Another thing is not to compromise with training of the adult. These three things are non-negotiable. Something that can be manipulated as far as the space is concerned, as far as the number of children are concerned, could be the materials. So we need to look at these children. What are their ages? And the space, what is the space constraint? And offer as much as the children need, and refresh the material as and when the children grow out of those materials and need more. So that's how we have been able to function. Not giving the entire range, it's not possible. In a bus, it's not possible in an Anganwadi, but we give as much as they need. And I've spoken to Montessorians the world over, because that had troubled me, being coming from the Freethinking school where everything is available all the time. So that was troubling me. And I said, this educator told me that less is more. Actually less is more. The children reap the best benefits from whatever you give them. So just give them what they need, and then we can always give them more when they're done with it.
Right.
So that's how we have been doing that. As far as in being inclusive is concerned, I'm guessing that you're talking about children with needs.
Yes.
So we create a template, basically, of possible activities and possible that have worked over time. And we ask our teachers to experiment, try out everything in the book, whether it be a reading corner, a safe space for the child to just go retreat and collect themselves when they're overwhelmed by something. So many different art corners, read a story, so many things to calm children and to help them cope with what they're going through. So yeah, we've given them strategies, we've given them possible ideas and activities. One definitely being to definitely is to stick to a routine. Children who have needs love and thrive only in a routine. And if we break that routine, they are disturbed. So these things, these cues, these ideas, and this understanding of children with needs, we keep refreshing our teachers with updated information on how to help them. Yeah.
Do you have any inclusive program running in one of your free thinking schools or even in Anganwadis?
So yeah, in Anganwadi, all the children, I mean, we don't do any screening, nothing. So children with special needs are there, and teachers are helping them at an individual level. We also take the children with special needs in our schools, in the Freethinking schools. And yeah, just yesterday we had a interaction with a special educator to help us understand how to help them one-on-one. So every child is so different, and we all have special needs in one way or the other, right? None of us are altogether, perfect. So the key really is to understand what the child's need is. And once we have the heart to go deep, to dig deep and discover how can I help this child, even in the smallest way. I may not have all the intellectual know-how of how to help them. Just that language of love. The child knows that I have accepted the child as he or she is, just as they are. That itself is a huge thing for children. They need to feel a sense of belonging in order for them to even understand us or even try to reach out to them. That is something that is crucial and absolutely necessary to help them.
Yeah. So when we were talking about non-negotiables and ensure that the core principle and the vision of our Montessori schools should never be tampered or should never be compromised on. So have you faced um, any? Did you have any experience where you had this? A parent who was a little tough to explain what you were doing, and because I'll tell you this, the question is coming from the common problem where Montessori is not a space where children are coming to learn academics in terms of solving a math problem or writing an essay or so, but it's coming from the hands-on experiential learning through exploration that is offered to these children in this environment. But many a times parents get confused, and under peer pressure sometimes they start asking question, where does my child stand academically? And when you try to explain that this is not the school you're looking for, if this is what your aspirations are, but many a times parents do not understand that. So have you faced that kind of issue, and how have you handled such situations?
Yeah, tricky ones. In majorly during our Montessori at home, when parents knew exactly what we were doing and wanted their children to be able to do. We've had parents calling us and say, "You're telling my child to use a scissors? No, never. I'm never going to allow my child to use a scissors or a knife." And so we were trying to be very patient and help him understand it's all right. He just needs to know how to, and we need to give a safety scissors, not a one that could injure the child in any way. So things like that. We've had some parents coming to school and say, "Oh, you're teaching my child how to swab and sweep, is it?" Um, and this is something that is part of life, and we try to help the parent understand that we have to include our children in the rhythms of life to just be self-sufficient in every way, because they are interested in it. Not that we want to make them sweep and swab, It's just that they want to do it, and they would pick up the skills so effortlessly at this time. So I think they do understand over time. By the end of the year, you have parents who have completely bought into the philosophy. It's only the initial, few months when our children are exploring a lot of Montessori practical life activities. That's when they're, why am I sending my child to sweep and swab? And, but and now I think more than before, we have parents who are so well informed, completely understand what we're doing and why. So that is substantially decreased over time.
Yeah.
But in the Anganwadi, interestingly, we had a Anganwadi teacher who just took we were showing the child how to put down a lota on a chowki. And this teacher was like, what are you doing? Why are you taking so long about it? I'll show you how to put it down. That was fun. So they also are slowly growing to understand why we do it the way we do it. Why do we take so long about those presentations? And but they have converted to, and I think very easily in the Anganwadis where we work, we can easily help those teachers understand how to do it going forward without us. Those who are interested, we can definitely help them also continue, and that's how it can become a sustainable model.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think with keeping the parents up to date and having these small workshops with the parents, I'm sure that also helps a lot for them to understand what is happening and how is it going to help them in future. So yes, a lot of effort from the school front, isn't it? Now coming to
Yes.
the parents, so we discussed about the educators, we discussed about, seeing it from the founder's perspective, but let's try to also, understand parents' perspective and help understanding how to tackle their challenges at home as well. So my first question would be, what advice would you give these parents who are really genuinely invested in child's development and nurturing their child's curiosity and love for learning at home? What do you think will help them work better with their children at home?
So yeah, understand that these are the most crucial years of your child's development. And in fact, I was reading somewhere that what a child achieves between 0 and 6, it would take an adult 60 years to develop the same. Because, the neurons are firing all the time, and the synapses are being made. They're learning at an exponential rate far greater than any adult human being. So this is the time to maximize experiences, to invest your time in your child, and know that they have to have a holistic development. They need to they need to understand that interactions are so crucial. TV time is not. They need to have human interactions. They need to be with friends to develop social skills. They need to be able to understand their emotions. So you cannot just keep your child at home and say, let's save money for later education. This is the time where your child has the building blocks for all successful later learning. It's really quite amazing that it's been more than 125 years since Maria Montessori has emphasized this over and over again, that it's not the age of university, but this early years, what she calls as infancy, the first phase of human development, which is the most crucial. And we know that, there are sensitive periods for learning. And it's a time when your child will learn effortlessly. It's very, very important for your child to get a complete all-round education in a house of children. It's very, very crucial for them to do that. at home, what can you do at home was the next question. So involve your child in all the things that you do. If you are dusting the house, give your child a little duster. Show your child how to. Initially you will find that there is spillage and there's a mess, but bear with your child. Give your child the time and space, and your child will be able to do it just as well as you do, and maybe even better sometimes. But we need to have the patience and to be able to show your child. So be very, very patient with your child and include them in everything around the house, whether it be folding clothes or sorting vegetables or so many things, sweeping, dusting, mopping, everything that you do practically. Another very important thing is to take your child out into nature and to allow your child to just jump in a puddle. We're so concerned about the shoe or the clothes or whatever, but the child needs to have these very natural experiences. Feel the rain, feel the warmth of the sun. We're so scared, too very hot. We need a child to be in nature, and I think give them everything about nature. Not fantasy, but reality is what really works for children in this age group. So whatever they are interested in, if they're interested in a little bug or a mosquito or whatever, give them facts about it, and talk to your children. Tell them stories about your childhood, about you, real stories. Connect over books, very, very important. And last but not least is to create traditions in the home. Maybe during Diwali, let's do an art project together. Maybe during Christmas vacation, we'll build a little tent, reading corner, a cozy corner to be in. Different things. Each one has their own, idea of fun. Create memories with you and your child that will last a lifetime. And these traditions grow. We have our own family traditions, and you can have them too. And everything is a learning opportunity. Every situation you are in. I remember with my children, we were reading the number plates in the car to do addition, right? So things like that, some small things like that bring children a lot of joy, and the whole family also.
Yeah, that's so true. And be consistent, isn't it? I think the key to maintaining and doing everything with the children is to be consistent at home, because many a times when we ask parents and we are like, you can engage children in all the things that you do, and they're like, yeah, we are making them do everything. But how often do you allow them? Right? You saw there was a spillage and you're like, no, 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 it's better I do it. Instead of, as you said, being patient. Being patient is so important, but many a times people forget that, and the impulsion and that urgency to clear the space as soon as possible once there is a spillage, it prevents us from allowing the child to experience and explore on a daily basis. So, yeah, what you said makes so much sense in involving children in every household activity that the child is capable of doing, engage them, but at the same time be consistent with those, and not just, stop by introducing them once and then forgetting about it completely. One day the child takes the clothes and puts it in the laundry. The next day you are making them sort the vegetables. And then we've forgotten about all these. When we are putting a pattern, making it a routine, that becomes the habit in the child, right, Sandy? And if we are,
Absolutely.
yeah, if we are stopping, if we are just doing it randomly, there is no pattern, there is no habit, it doesn't help in personality, and eventually the child skips doing thing and asks and forces you to do on their behalf, and then we are wondering why we are making them do everything and still the child is not interested. That's only because we are not very clear about our expectations, right?
Absolutely. Even with understanding boundaries,
Yes.
at home. So especially with TV time, we have to be consistent.
Yeah.
We can't keep giving into the child one day and then say no, not today. Um, so we have to be consistent even with regard to setting boundaries in the home, whether it be where we eat or how much TV time. So many different necessities that are there, what time to go to sleep. It has to be, something that would be helpful for the child to be able to get up in the morning and be fresh enough to go to school or whatever. So setting boundaries, like you said, being consistent about it, not becoming lax in between. So this is not helping the child. Yeah. Another thing is about giving them choices. I think as mamas, we've all made the decisions for our children in every area, and that really cripples the child growing up. So giving them choices with regard to clothing, not the whole cupboard, but give them two choices, ask them to choose one. With regard to food also, you don't want to cook a whole meal for everybody, but give them two choices. You can have idli or dosa. Which one do you choose? Something like both should be good choices, of course. So we don't want to feed our children junk all the time, which is another issue.
Yeah. So I just have one last question, and then we can, open the space for audiences to ask their questions. We have around 12 minutes left. So, Sandy, we are talking about choices and we are talking about being consistent. But why are we doing all this? Why are we talking about all this? Is because we want children to become independent eventually. And only when the habit sets in, it sets in when there is a consistency, and once it sets in, the children become more independent, and this is why they don't need us. Sometimes I also feel that parents are not allowing them, offering them choices, or giving them random activities because it feels nice to do their work because there are children. I think we lost Sandy. There is a power cut there. She'll get back. Yeah, I think. So yeah, we'll talk about this independence and order and consistency until Sandy joins. So most often,
കഴിയണേന്ന് പ്രാർത്ഥിച്ചോണ്ടിരിക്കും അങ്ങനല്ലേ നോക്കാൻ വയ്യ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക്.
okay. So we are talking about independence, and what is the way we can make our children independent is only when we allow them to choose their work, only when we allow them to do their work on a daily basis. And maybe in the beginning we can help them, support them, because they don't know how to and what to do. But once they start understanding, we can allow and push them to do their work and extend their challenge. The more we extend, the more it becomes, children like challenges. Okay, so they want the activity only when it pushes their limits. But when they are getting habituated with something, say for example, putting the clothes in the laundry basket. Now the child must be doing it 10 times. When by 11th time the child already knows what to do. So it becomes a habit, but at the same time the child is getting bored because there is no challenge anymore. So what you can do is you can extend that work by allowing the child to put the clothes into the washing machine, right? So we keep extending, and then maybe ask them, once they have mastered that, ask them to help in putting off the clothes for drying. So eventually all this will help children build the competency for doing that. Okay, we have Sandy back. Yeah.
So sorry, Madhuri, I think my connection just dropped.
Yes, I know. So I was just talking about independence and what we can do to support children. So we were talking about independence, and I think last time when we were discussing Sandy, we were also discussing the three important aspects that are very much to be emphasized upon in young children for their independence. One is eating, the other is sleeping, and the third one is toileting. So, would you like to talk about it and how we can encourage and empower these parents at home so that they can support and there is no fuss about any of them and they eventually become independent? The children become independent.
So, all these three areas, I think children need really to help. Actually, the parents need to help their children at home. to give them an experience of, with regard to food, different textures, different flavors for the child to experience from early childhood itself. As soon as they start trying to, get a taste of food, have the desire to eat, that they're teething now and they're growing. So that's a good time to explore different foods and understand what your child is liking. And don't stop there. Your child needs to explore some more. So yeah, whatever's healthy and healthy options, please provide. And your child, if you're able to do that at an early age, you will see that your child is less of a fussy eater growing up. Another very good habit is to include your child in the kitchen activities. So when you are cooking, allow your child to, pluck the pudina or cut cucumber, cut bananas, whatever. So many different things that your child can do and help to in that process of cooking. So they feel now that they have contributed to the food on the plate, and the need to eat is far more than just feeding your child throat. So let's be more mindful that if you include your child, automatically your child will want to eat more readily. So try that. As far as potty training goes, it's so important. When my children were growing up, we had not too many diapers in the stores. Now, children grow up entirely on diapers. So it's becoming more of a challenge for parents who, especially if they're both working, choose the summertime to do this, because your child can be free and on holiday to be able to introduce this concept of understanding the need, and you can address it systematically, and then help the school also to know that your child is ready to be trained. And in any Montessori house of children, we help with that process, ensuring that the children use the restroom frequently, understand their needs, and communicate it to us using sign language, using words, whatever. So yes, so in all areas we help with development. With you mentioned throwing tantrums. Actually, tantrums actually many times is a misunderstanding of the child's need. Like I said before, if we are trying to thwart something that the child wants to do, maybe your child is particularly interested in climbing stairs, and the need arises from within to be able to coordinate his movements, and he wants to keep on climbing the stairs. And you are in a hurry, you want to go somewhere, and you take the child away from what he wants to do, you will find that a tantrum is thrown. So we need to go down to the level of the child and understand, what is my child trying to communicate to me? What is the need that he has? And only when we go into the mind of the child, we'll be able to understand better. And it's not really a tantrum. He's trying to communicate something to me. He's trying to tell me something that I must know. And be mindful that it could arise from within, a need from within. It need not be something to manipulate to you with. It may be something that he wants to do that he's not getting the time to do.
Yeah. So we discussed about child's independence. We discussed about your lovely contribution to marginalized community by supporting these Anganwadis and Montessori on wheels. And we also discussed about what a founder can do and what an educator must be to support children at different levels, right? It's not just, it's a marginalized community where the educator has to, cater to their needs and come to their level. And same way, I think any other Montessori environment is designed in such a way. So it's been wonderful and insightful conversation with you, Sandy. I will open the space for the audiences to ask questions. You can either raise or you can just unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can put your question in the chat section as well. Any questions? We have Suresh Kumar B saying if we allow children to make initial mistakes, they will learn on their own. That's really very true. Yeah. Another minute, and we'll be wrapping up for today. So, anyone who has a question, it's so interesting when we, talk about children. It's endless, isn't it, Sandy? We always have something to, I like the ideas that you gave today. Something that I learned today, I would say. Every time we have a new discussion, we will have some takeaway for sure, and I'm sure our audiences will agree with that. Like today, what you said about having these art activities set out for the vacations like Christmas or any occasion. It's a fantastic way to come as a family together and do a task, but at the same time also helping children become developed socially, because that is what is necessary for their social development. So it makes so much sense. And every family have their own special days. Like we have Ganesh Chaturthi coming, and as a family we have to start preparing the savories and sweets, and make a Ganesha idol and all of that. So it's so much fun, but at the same time the child also feels accepted as a part of the family, and their input and their contribution is respected as a family. So it's so important and so valuable. Yeah. So I don't see anybody asking any questions, so we will wind up for the day. I hope you had a fantastic, time with us listening to our conversation, and I really believe, I'm sure you would have some takeaways, each one of you. And thank you, Sandy, once again. I'm really thankful and grateful for you to coming and speaking on our platform, and spreading the awareness about how we can reach out to these marginalized community, because as we said, education is for all. That was Maria Montessori's vision as well, but somehow we have become very limited in Montessori approach. So it's a fantastic lookout, and thank you really for keeping that perspective open for everybody.
Yeah. Somehow it's come across that Maria Montessori's method is only for the elite,
Yeah.
But we have broken that myth also.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah, and I hope it reaches out to many more people, and they also spread this kind of work into the society. Yeah. So thank you all for
We
joining.
need many more.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Many more free thinkers required.
Yes. Yes. And you can reach out to Sandy as well, her Freethinking Foundation, and if you want to visit some of the Anganwadi and the project that she is working upon, I think that will be great, right, Sandy?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Get in touch with us if you'd like to contribute to the foundation in any way, whether monetarily or, if you would like to volunteer your services, we'd be happy to include you in that. Thank you so much, Madhuri. It was a pleasure being here today, interacting with you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and have a fantastic weekend, all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have so many people here sending messages. Rashida says, having a little experience working with Anganwadi, I could relate to a lot of things spoken here. Also got a lot of insight on parenting. So thank you. And many people have thank you all for joining in.